This exercise looks really complicated, but if you use substitution, it's not as bad as it looks. Let's see, we have x to the 2/3 plus 2x to the 1/3 plus 1 equals 0. And believe it or not, this is quadratic in form. It helps if we rewrite it a little bit. Let's see, how about if we write it like this? We could write this as x to the 1/3 squared, because that's if we were to distribute this 2 through to the 1/3, that would be x to the 2/3. So this is just another way of writing x to the 2/3. Okay, plus 2, x to the 1/3, I'm putting that into parentheses to make it stand out a little bit, plus 1 equals 0. And now we can see this is quadratic in form, right? This looks a lot like u squared plus 2u plus 1 equals 0. So we use the substitution method here, and it's usually the b term here, I'll say, at least the variable that goes along with the b term, right? Calling this the a term, the b term, and the c term. It's the middle term of the three. If it's written in this correct descending order, that's what you let your substitution be. So let's see, we have let u be x to the 1/3. Okay, and by doing that, we get this new trinomial that is a lot better looking. Okay, this thing we can factor with ease, or at least relative ease. Well, u and u plus 1 and plus 1. Okay, so really this is u plus 1 squared equals 0. Square root both sides. This gives us u plus 1 equals 0. U then equals -1. Okay, but now we back substitute, right? You want to back sub at the end. You never stop here with u equals something because our problem started with x, so we need to give an answer back in terms of x. So we're going to back substitute, so that tells us x to the 1/3 equals -1. Huh. Well, how in the world do we do this? It's not so bad. We take both sides to the power of 3. Look at that. On the left, the 3 and the 3 cancel, leaving us with just x. -1 cubed is simply -1. So there's our answer to this trinomial, x equals -1. Let's try another one. In this example, we have 4x to the 2/3 plus 16x to the 1/3 equals -15. We will use substitution again to tackle this thing. Otherwise, it's just really out there. So let's do it. Let's fix this up and get it into the right form first, meaning we want to have 0 on one side. So I'm just going to add the 15 to both sides. There we go. And this may look untenable, but we can just rewrite it a little bit. So look what I'm doing here again. Okay, 4x to the 1/3 squared plus 16x to the 1/3 plus 15 equals 0. And we can see that this is really quadratic in form, right? It looks like a quadratic, and if we had it like this instead, it would definitely be a quadratic equation. So let's do a substitution to make it like this. Let's let u be x to the 1/3. And again, if it's in this descending order like this, it's the middle one that we set u to in general here. Okay, so once we do this u substitution, we get this new trinomial, which we can then factor. At the end of this video, I'll show how to use the diamond method for factoring this. For now, I'll just use trial and error, but if you really are used to using the diamond method, stick around, I'll show that at the end. So here we have 2u plus 3 plus 5. Okay, equals 0. So now we use a zero factor property to set each one of these individually equal to 0. So we have 2u plus 3 equals 0, and we have 2u plus 5 equals 0. So this gives us u equals -3 halves, and u over here equals negative 5 halves. Okay, but don't forget to back sub. Okay, so back sub. All right, because u is x to the 1/3. All right, so we actually have x to the 1/3, x to the 1/3 equals negative 3 halves. And we have x to the 1/3 equals negative 5 halves. How do we get rid of the 1/3? Well, we cube both sides as shown here. Cube both sides by taking each side to the power of 3. That cancels out the third here, and we end up with just x, which is what we wanted. Okay, on the right side, this negative survives because a negative cubed is still negative because 3 is odd. Right? If that was even, the negative would become positive. All right, 3 cubed is 27, and 2 cubed is 8. So there's x equals negative 27/8. That's one of our answers. And now we'll cube this one down here as well. Okay, same deal with the negative. It lives through the cubing. So there's a negative 5 cubed, 125, 2 cubed, 8. There's our second answer. So two answers, negative 27/8 and negative 125/8. Now let's go back and take a closer look at how to factor using the diamond method on this trinomial here. So we have 4u squared plus 16u plus 15 equals 0. Okay, so we're just going to look at that. We set up our x like so, and remember we have AC up here, AX here, and our division line, AX here, division line, and B goes down here. And where do these terms come from? Well, this is our A, this is our B, this is our C. Really, and we include the sign in there, technically. Okay, so really we have AC, 4 times 15 is 60, and B is 16. And then we have 4u in this case, and 4u, because we're dealing with u instead of x. Okay, so we need factors of 60 that add to 16. There they are. Which of these factors adds to 16? Well, let's see. I'm thinking it's this bottom one, because 6 plus 10 is indeed 16. So that's the one we're looking at. So we put our 6 here, our 10 here. They're both positive since everything's positive. And then we just do some simplification here. So let's see here. We can get a 2 out of both of these. That leaves us with 2/5. So we have 2u over 5. And over here we can do some cancellation. That leaves us with 2u over 3. Again, canceling a 2 out of those. And then we just read it off from the top down like so. So we get 2u plus 3, 2u plus 5. And there is the diamond method.